You are listening to the Toxic Mold Podcast with Steve Worsley, the toxic mold expert and your number one source for mold consulting and mitigation in the USA. Let's dive into a brand new episode.
Before we get started on this episode, here's a not-so-short disclaimer. While all attempts have been made to verify the content provided in this podcast, neither the podcaster nor the producers assume any responsibility for errors, omissions, or alternative interpretations of the issues discussed here. All information stated in this podcast is the opinion of Steve Worsley. Steve Worsley is a mold specialist with over 25 years of experience in the construction and mold industry. The Toxic Mold Podcast is for information sharing purposes only. The views expressed are those of the podcaster and his alone. These views should not be taken as expert instruction or commands. While there may be references to medical conditions and symptoms, all podcast episodes are the opinion of Steve Worsley, and any medical questions or concerns shall be addressed with the appropriate licensed medical professional or professionals. As the podcaster refers to different mold types, please be aware that Steve Worsley is not a microbiologist, and questions concerning mold specifics should be answered by the appropriate professional. Steve isn't, nor does he offer any legal advice. For any legal advice, you must speak to a lawyer. The listener is 100% responsible for his or her own actions. You can check out Steve's books on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and search for author Steve Worsley. You can also take Steve's mold education courses, such as Mold 101 and the Mycotoxin Prevention Kit, by going to cnccontractorservices.com. Again, check out his mold education courses at cnccontractorservices.com. Now, let's get to the episode.
Hello, you're listening to the Toxic Mold Podcast with myself, Steve Worsley. We have my wife, Cassandra. We're right in the thick of winter.
Yes, we are, and this is a very good topic today.
It is. The topic is mold worse in the winter months? If I was to ask you that, what do you think?
My answer would be it depends.
Okay. Depends on what?
Depends how much time somebody's spending in a moldy home or moldy location due to the winter months.
Yeah, it's like anything else mold. There's a lot more questions I would have if somebody asked me that. But to me, the easy answer is it shouldn't be any worse.
Okay.
But if you have frozen pipes or the likeliness of having a moisture intrusion event, it's probably a lot higher. Then yes, I mean, you can say that. But I believe the reason why people think it would be worse is just because they're in their homes longer.
Absolutely. But haven't you been asked before if, I thought you once got a question that something like in the winter, is the mold dormant or frozen?
Yeah. So few things right there. Mold cannot colonize and reproduce if it's frozen. Okay. So it's a living organism. It can't. It's like the grass outside. But on the other hand, like mold does go into a dormant state if you take one of the three main factors that contribute to mold growth. Okay. Which is mold spores, which you're not going to take away. Food source, which you're probably not going to take that away. You could. And then the water or humidity. So it does go into a dormant state. But as far as like, is mold like more toxic in the winter versus the summer? No, not that I know of.
And doesn't it all depend on the individual circumstances of a particular home, right? Like, let's say it's winter outside, but the person living inside the moldy home has humidifiers running and they keep the heat at 80 degrees. I mean, doesn't that just make it a perfect opportunity for mold, whereas somebody else's house with different circumstances would be different?
Yeah, so what I see all the time, whether it's inspections, social media, like I see this all the time in the winter. People show condensation on their windows. That condensation is happening for a couple reasons. You have extreme temperature differences. Mm-hmm. Outside it's really cold, inside it's really warm. You just mentioned if you crank your thermostat up to 80, which we don't, like we keep our home pretty cold by most standards in the winter. You kick it up to 80, you're going to increase the likeliness of the condensation. Okay. The condensation's also happening because we have blinds. Mm-hmm. Well, what does that do? It prevents ventilation and airflow.
Yes.
So there's a couple factors there, but it is very common to see what you just mentioned. Condensation on windows.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes ice forms. Well, when it melts, where do you think the water goes?
Well, yeah, it goes
Down to the
down the
windowsill and into the
windowsill,
wall. And
exactly. Now you have a perfect
exactly.
opportunity.
Yeah, so people's habits could lead to it. It's more likely, like I said, that pipes can freeze. We talked about ice dams last week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, you have kids that love to have snowball fights and they come in from the snowball fight and throw all their wet clothes on the carpet or the floor, whatever.
Yeah.
So there are factors in the winter months that could lead to it, but do I believe it's worse in the winter just because it's colder? No.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, that does make sense. I guess the question that a lot of people wonder is why do they notice mold when it is winter and they're spending more time in the house?
Yeah, and it goes back to, like I said, I think, I see it's weird because I don't really say there's a certain time of year that I slow down,
Mm-hmm.
but I do kind of follow typical construction trends where in the winter it slows down. But like last winter, it didn't.
Yeah, correct.
We had a moisture intrusion event on a federal property.
Yes.
Like, we had to go to Colorado in March. Like, so it's hard for me to just say, yeah, there's an uptick in it. But going back to your question, I do believe it's because they're in their homes longer.
Okay.
You're not going out for a run. Maybe you are. Your kids aren't playing outside. You're not going outside. You're not barbecuing. There's a lot of factors.
Yeah, you're not getting ventilation is not happening as readily throughout a house if people are staying mostly at home. People work from home, right? They're not going in and out, in and out, in and out. They're not opening windows. They're not opening door. There's a lot of you're not doing that when it's 10 degrees outside.
Yeah, and if you have a hidden mold concern, you're being exposed to it longer.
Exactly.
Being at home.
Exactly.
That's probably the best way to explain it. Like, you're just at home more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a mold problem in your car and you went on vacation, you're probably going to react to it because you've been in your car more than normal.
Correct.
Versus your daily commute.
Correct.
So
it's not.
Sense?
So what you're saying is it's not really different winter to another season. It just could be different exposure levels.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't, a lot of people and our listeners are probably wondering this, is the mold itself going to behave differently in colder temperatures? I don't believe so.
Okay.
But you do have factors like condensation,
mm-hmm.
ice dams, frozen pipes that could lead to that. But as far as the mold itself and it's more dangerous in the winter, I don't believe that.
Yeah. But what does change are some of the external circumstances, like how often you're at home, even in the winter, how strong your immune system is. When there's less sunlight, our immune systems are weaker.
Yeah,
there's lots of reasons.
It's flu season.
Yes.
There's tons of factors.
Yeah.
But from the perspective of, is the mold more harmful? No.
No, it's the same no matter what. So,
exactly.
So then what should people do? I mean, I know we've talked about this on episodes before, but it's the winter, there are holidays, it's flu season, you're going to family members' houses for the you're now not only more in your house, but you're also being exposed in other people's houses. What can people do to really prepare for that?
Well, like we talk about it around the holidays. If you have a sibling or an in-law or parent that has mold issues and they just don't care, you shouldn't go to that home.
Okay.
That's the easy answer, obviously, for me, but why would you expose yourself to something is harmful to you?
Correct.
We're not going to go down the rabbit hole of cross-contamination, but that's a concern too. But let's just say it's at work. There's a mold issue. It's at work. That's your paycheck.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to just say, I'm not going to go to work.
Exactly.
So, be aware of homes that are probably not healthy for you. But on the other hand, just be aware of your surroundings, period.
Yeah.
Pay attention in your home. We talk about routine inspections all the time. We talk about humidity gauges. We talk about the lufty, the air guard. There's all sorts of preventative things you can do. You don't always have to buy something.
That's true.
An inspection doesn't require you buying something. And when I say an inspection, I mean by the listener.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to hire an inspector every quarter, nor would I expect that.
Yeah.
But do routine inspections in areas that you don't go into often.
Correct.
We have the spring checklist coming up.
Oh, that's right.
It's March 8th, I think is what I said. I hope I'm right. I could be wrong. Anyhow, we'll go over those things like check your attic, check your mechanical room, check your crawl space, check your basement that you never go into.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. That's what you can do to help yourself.
Now, all of it seems to boil down to something that you talk about a lot, which is situational awareness. What do you say to people who are not situationally aware when it comes to mold, especially, in winter months or months where you're going to be more at home?
Well, when you're paying thousands and thousands of dollars to doctors to detox or help you through the detox, thousands and thousands to a mold specialist like myself or a remediation company, you're probably going to wish you were paying attention.
Okay.
I mean,
So
some people have to learn the hard way.
It will cost you to not be situationally aware in ways you don't want.
Yeah. And I'm sure, for our listeners that have gone through it, you're aware of your situations.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell our listeners, just change your habits. But when you go through it yourself, you'll pay attention.
Absolutely.
It's no different than the analogy of a kid touching a hot stove.
One good time.
Yep. Sometimes you got to just let it happen. As terrible as it is, but it takes one time and they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But if you keep telling them don't touch it, they're going to wonder why.
And then
we're humans.
And then they'll figure out why. So maybe this is a whole thing of public service announcement. Be situationally aware so you don't have to touch the hot stove.
And I mean, we live in an area that gets lots of snow. There's road closures. The roads can be very dangerous. Like knowing, where you're at, what to do if something goes sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I worked at the coal mine, we always went through a bunch of safety stuff.
Yeah.
And, we were taught to do a take 5 and, more or less for our listeners is like take 5 and do these steps, do a walk around and then think about what are the consequences if I'm driving down this icy road and there's a deer that comes out and runs in front of me.
Oh, yeah.
Or the car coming the opposite direction, loses control, starts think through those situations because we've talked about it before. We're creatures of habit. If you keep telling yourself, if this happens, this is how I'm going to react, that's what you're going to do.
That's true.
If you never think about it, you're not going to know what to do.
That's very, very true. So given all of that, what's your call to action for people?
We just talked about it. Take 10 minutes, do an inspection, walk around the problematic areas. If you don't want to get it in your attic, I get it, but check your attic. Check your crawl space, look underneath your sinks, check your mechanical rooms, areas that have plumbing issues, typically, check those areas.
Awesome. And you do offer a free mold investigation checklist, which could help them do that.
Right. Yep. You can probably explain it better how they do that.
Well, you just go to cnccontractorservices.com and there should be an area, if you scroll to the bottom of the page, that gives you the option to sign up for that. But also many places on the site, you will find the same option.
Yeah. And it's
in all of Steve's books.
Right. And it's simple. I don't blow up your email. I don't sell your email. I send you routine emails like every 2 weeks on holidays. I don't blow up your email list, but that's how you can get it.
Awesome.
All right. We appreciate all you listeners. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If mold in your home has you up at night, wondering if your house is making you sick, it is time for a plan. With a mold consult, in other words, the mold environment assessment and evaluation plan from CNC Contractor Services, you will get a 90-minute strategy call with Steve Worsley, who will review your home environment, answer your toughest questions, and create personalized mold recommendations and next steps just for you. Don't let mold concerns take over. Take control. Visit cnccontractorservices.com to schedule your mold consult today so you can breathe easier in your home tomorrow.